Hi, everybody. This is Dr. Lillie M. Coley, and this is Keeping It Real with Dr. Lil. I wanted to address three things that people sent me regarding the stuff that me and my godson is going through and the cases that we had. The first thing I wanted to address was when Rymir became my legal child. So that, as some of you already know, you sent me the order. It's online, and you'll see it as well. It was effective on June 6, 2011. The hearing was on July 26, 2011. It was filed on June 6th. So June 6th is the effective date. July 26th was the court date, but it always goes back to the effective date. So that's when Rymir became my legal child. Again, there was no paternity asked by his mother after March 2011 in Pennsylvania. Wanda has never asked for any paternity in the state of New Jersey because one, she doesn't have standing and she lives in Pennsylvania. So this is the custody of Rymir. That's the first thing. So he became my legal child. He became able to have all the benefits of the state as it resulted with him being under my auspice in my home. We were under the Uniform Information Support Act, and although that has nothing to do with this particular thing, and actually I did file a support request during that time, but it was sent to the wrong place. And then the court asked me to go back to Philadelphia to get the relinquishing of Rymir's last state that filed something about his paternity and all this other stuff, to send that over to New Jersey, which we did in 2012. Okay, so that's clear. Rymir became my legal guardian. And then the next question people asked was about Robert. And I probably should have did Robert first, because Robert was disestablished and disestablished and deposited on the area of paternity as it relates to Rymir. That was effective April 4th, based on the court order. All of you have probably seen that online. I guess it really says 18th, but some of the letters had the 4th. There was an attorney, Calden Kearns. Her name, the attorney name was Attorney Miller. She was the one who actually made sure the testing and everything was in concordance with the law. And also, as I told you before, they used the DTC, which was a court-appointed paternity testing facility. So Mr. Roberts took the test. Of course, you saw the results was 0, and then he was dispositive. This is called dispositive, and it's also called disestablished in the area of paternity. Dispositive means that he will never be considered the father again. He is forever gone. In addition to us getting an order, but the court wrote the order to judge and said what he said based on the past history, the fact that he was a minor when he signed the birth certificate, the fact that he was not in the child's life, so forth and so on. There were different factors that fed into that. The bottom line is, everybody, is that he's not the father, right? And that he has been eliminated as the father. He is an active father. He also, as I stated, was returned a little bit of money that he paid into the child support system. So he is considered forever gone. Now, what they also had us do was to do what they call vacate avoid order. So now not Rymir, but Robert was considered to be vacated or voided out as the father. So then you can go back to the court and take the information and void him out or vacate him so that it's forever gone, and that somebody who know who can take an order to another state and pretend it's the father. It's not. So when you vacate a void order, you avoid people shopping around the country trying to act like something is, but it's not. So I hope we got that clear. So that's the second thing. So we're going to have all it posted, just take a good look at it, because y'all sent it to me. So I know the stuff is out there because that's a PA thing. The New Jersey case was also out there from the very beginning in 2011 because it was intertwined with a Pennsylvania case. So you have that too. And then the third thing I was going to talk to you about, guys, about was okay, we did the order, was Rymir's mother. Rymir's mother, I think people better be very careful about what they're saying about her and what they're doing. Just putting you on notice. Be careful because you're not going to mess around. Her family is not going to like some of the stuff, and I'm not going to like it. So don't try to drag her through the mud when you don't even know her. So the one thing I want to talk about with her is somebody sent me an order, and the order had Wanda's name on it from New Jersey. And I want to explain why it was there. Wanda, and like all the other orders in the state of New Jersey, because we knew her to be the mother, the state requires that the mother's name goes on there automatically as a defendant. So we didn't have no choice with that. So her name goes into any action dealing with Rymir as a defendant automatically because she is the mother. We had Sean Carter on there, obviously, as the punitive father at the time. So that was that situation. But the first thing I want to talk about is the fact that what led up to that order was a couple pages or pleadings what Rymir had submitted to the court. Y'all sent me that as well. But if you look at the pleadings of Rymir that was dated for the genetic testing, let's see when it was dated. Y'all, I don't have a date on here, but I know that the date is on the first page. But nonetheless, Rymir submitted a 2-page request. It was an inheritance case asking the court for genetic testing as it related to Sean Carter or Jay-Z. As he did that, his name was the only name on the petition. Check it out. His mother's name is not there. Did you get that? Okay. So his mother's name is not there on Rymir's petition for genetic testing. This is what prompted the court to do the next thing. The next thing is that once he put that in with his filing fee, he get what we call a summons. And in the summons, you can see here, look at it real closely. It has a date and time. It looks like it has August 16th at 9 o'clock. Again, do you see Rymir's name at the top? Sure you do. And then you see that his mother's name as a defendant as well as Sean Carter. So that's where his mother is. Her name, Wanda, was not on his original petition request. But when the court processed the court date, blah, 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 they put her name in there because they know who she is. They knew she was his mother because of me having custody of her and blah, blah, blah. So here we find that her name is placed there by the state. Okay, because the state had her address. She's not a citizen of the state of New Jersey. So why would she be filing a request for petition in New Jersey? That would be a lie, everybody. You're trying to make it look like something it's not. Be careful, right? The last thing is the order that came out of the actual hearing from what you just saw, the summons. And in that, how his mother became a plaintiff is beyond our common imagining. So it's just interesting how his mother's name became a part of the case because they wanted to deny the son. By having the mother on there, it makes it appears that she wanted as well, when that situation obviously wasn't true because she's in Pennsylvania, she's not in New Jersey. So that was a legal move on somebody's part in order to make it appear that the son and the mother was requesting genetic testing. Now, this is not a family court case. This was an inheritance case, which makes it more crazier. An inheritance case, the mother can't ask for nothing. Only the person who is the heir of the person. So when they did that, they made themselves look bad as well. This is not a family court matter. This is an inheritance case that Rymir filed. And you can go back and look at the paper, what he filed, look up the statute. It's not a family court statute. It's an inheritance case. Can be filed in a family court, but is ruled under another law. And the law is inheritance. So the mother being on there makes it look like, one, she wanted genetic testing, she didn't. And second, she can't even be on there legally. So nonetheless, obviously it was denied, because if somebody's starting to switch names around, which happened in Pennsylvania too, as by the way, they switched my names with hers back then, and then her name with her son's. Same playbook. So we had fraud in Pennsylvania, as I told you before, and we had fraud in New Jersey. And the whole point was to try to block us in, in Pennsylvania, so to speak, by taking my name off. I had the child, put the mother name and act like she wanted it in Pennsylvania, and she didn't. And here this child is sick. And this young person, this young adult, I should say, is sick, Wanda. And you're doing all this nasty grieving stuff because you're trying to help her son get some closure. And then when he comes to New Jersey with me, you do the same thing, the same playbook. So the whole point to everybody is, this is the truth. You can go do whatever you want to say. We know that God is going to be with us. We know that God is going to allow us to have favor, and the truth will always prevail. I can say these things to you in the name of Jesus for those who are in Jesus, and I'll just give you my word. And I say, like the Bible says, may my tongue cleave to the top of my mouth if I was lying. And I pray that those who are out there lying and putting out false stuff, because some people are getting paid, that their tongues would cleave to their mouth and be stuck there, right? So at the end of the day, I wanted to come on and talk about that. So in a nutshell, the mother, I'll work my way back, everybody. The mother, Wanda Satterwhite, did not file with her son when he did his genetic testing or inheritance case. Her name appeared there because the court put her there, the judge at that point. First, she was put on the summons because she had to by law as a defendant. And then before the case was over and the final order was done, she was moved from a defendant to a plaintiff in order to deny her son. That's what the court did. That's what it boils down to. So that was that. So don't forget to go back and look at the summons. The summons did not have her name as a plaintiff. Neither did her child put her name in as a party at all. On his particular request to the court, which started this, Rymirs Satterwhite, nothing, the mother's name was not on it. It was only Rymir's name and Sean Carter's. So just check it out, everybody. And then, as I already said, Robert Graves has been disestablished. He has been depositive, and all the money that he had regarding the small amount was a small amount. He was not on child support for 16 years. That is a lie. Okay? I'm not trying to be offensive to anybody, but it's a lie from the pit of hell. So at the end of the day, he did the best he could, I guess, as being a minor in and out somebody's life, but he was never called out as the father. You can look at the order and saw what the judge did and look it up. Check it out, y'all. Get your own confirmation, if you will, and you'll see that what I'm saying is correct and it's truthful, because I'm not going to lie to you about something like this. But the funny thing is that where was everybody out 14 years ago? That's 2011. You talking about that now with the mother? Why now? You don't have nothing else to talk about. Okay, I got you. But at the end of the day, it don't mean nothing, because you should have been talking about that. And I think the biggest thing is, and I'm going to sum this up, is the fraud that happened in between our cases, which we haven't talked about. Very egregious, very horrible, and expensive. It's expensive to chase fraud and lies. So in between all these years of the fraud, the attorneys and some other persons benefited from these cases in lots of ways. They manufactured motions and got money from their client. That would be Jay-Z. They did other kinds of things where they whited out names, and you already know they switched names. They did everything under the sun when it came down to the family court case, and Rymir's case of the inheritance came and went. Then we started dealing with the fraud after that all the way to 2022, and they milked the cow as best they could. Did all the things they can do, and then wanted to try to come back for my property, but didn't have the guts to tell me. Let me come into court so I can have my day in court on my property. But that was too much to ask. But at any rate, again, the last thing is about the order regarding Rymir and when he became my legal child, effective June 6, 2011. And then after that, you'll find, and we'll talk about it next time, how the Pennsylvania court relinquished the jurisdiction to New Jersey, and that was the end of the story. That's how we were able to start filing in New Jersey and got a person coming into court saying, you can't ask me nothing because I don't have properties. Well, why are we talking about that or talking about this or something else now? 14 years later. So now we're going to talk about something else? I don't think so, sir. We're going to talk about the truth because somewhere along the line, the truth's got to prevail. You got to face the truth. You got to deal with the truth, blah, 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 blah. And we know there's allegations. We know, we get it. But like I said, I was living there and I lived there and I lived the situation and I know what happened, right? So at the end of the day, it is what it is. That's why we have a court of law to deal with whatever we got to deal with. Obviously, we're not dealing with none of this kind of stuff. This is not what we're dealing with at all. We're dealing with other things that are kind of worse. But for the most part, for those of you who had questions about Rymirs' identity when he became a legal child in the state of New Jersey, he was still a minor, still in high school. We enrolled him in a special program for him to finish up his schooling in May of 2011. He had to go all the way till December, and that's when he graduated. Facts, everybody. Then he went to college in New Jersey, Camden County. Check it out, everybody. And his mother has never, ever, and I'm telling you, y'all, she's never asked for any paternity after March 2011. After I got custody of her child in May and June, legally in New Jersey, she's never did anything else. And they've used her. They used her as a pawn. I think one, because she was passive and nice and dark. Dark, beautiful, dark-skinned girl. But I don't think that if she was light-skinned, things would be different. I do think things would be different. So for the most part, everybody, it's been a very long road. But you have to ask yourself and ask the people who are talking about this, why were you talking about this now? Where were you at in 2012? What were you doing in 2015? What were you saying in 2020? So there's more information that you'll probably see that will come out that's going to show the corruption and the bigger picture of all the stuff that we had to go through. But we get it now. It's more understandable now why some things were done and there was so much of the cover to cover up. But it started in Pennsylvania, unfortunately, with fraud. And Lisa Fisher Hart is married to Ned Hart, who were the defendant's attorney, Sean Carter's. And Lisa came to New Jersey and her husband was in Pennsylvania. And they didn't change the playbook at all. Unfortunately, my attorney, in the beginning, he was okay. And then he became more on the other side. And then there was things that were addressed to that. This is all in record, everybody, and it's all public. So thank you all so much. I will look forward to talking to you. I'm going to come back. There was a person that I had a long question for. I'm going to come back and do a special video just for that person because I feel like I don't want them to feel like we're hanging and danging them out. No. We're going to answer the question. We're going to keep it truthful. We're going to keep it real because you might need to help somebody else with this. This kind of stuff is not something that everybody wants to go through every day. It's really very distasteful. It's a waste of time, but I gotta be a reason that God is allowing it to happen. So we're just gonna walk in it. But I'm not gonna let anybody go through and take my goddaughter's name through the mud. And I'm not gonna let them talk about how dark she was or any of those kind of things. So be careful what you do because there are some groups out there that are doing some class actions. They're pulling people together. So just be careful what you say and kind of know what you're talking about and know that it can be rebutted. I'm not going to run everything else down because you're not going to waste my time. But at the end of the day, you can't change the truth. You can't change it. No matter what you say and how many people say it, how many people you pay, it won't change the truth. And that's the sad part about it. But what could change the truth is trying to sit at the table and do the right thing and talk about what you need to talk about. But I know that takes a different type of level mindset and a maturity that everybody ain't there yet. And we get it. So thank you, everybody. Thank you so much. This is Keeping It Real with Dr. Lil. I look forward to talking with you soon. And look, take the information that you already sent me that's public, those documents and those orders, and check them out. It's the truth. It's the truth. It's the truth. Ain't nothing going to change the truth. Thank you so much. God bless everybody.